Yo, chat, what are they trying to do here? Graceful charity with these mini eyebrows and these traumatized men in the background. Now, white for me is actually the color I like the least, but I've been liking some of the Gallahorn cards, at least from the starter deck number 5. But before we begin, guys, I recently had to move due to my last apartment flooding, and then recently I learned that my dog's in very, very poor health right now. All I ask is if you hit that like and subscribe button, but if you want to take it a step further, go ahead and leave a super thanks. Or you can actually leave a donation using the link in the description down below. Appreciate you guys. So here we have the first base here. It says after you deploy, if a friendly Gallahorn unit is in play, choose one friendly unit, it gains -2 AP during this turn. Yeah, I like this card. This is pretty good. You just deploy this, -2 something, get an attack into it. That's pretty good. Just being able to have like a Kira effect immediately is pretty strong. In Seal, this card may be just okay. You may not ever get the effect off, but at least it's the base there. Ooh, we have some AU now. This is like that iconic scene here. So we have the Argama. It says this base can't receive enemy effect damage. I'm not too bad at that. It's a level 3, you know, and it just can't be breached. So that's pretty good. That's going to be kind of an interesting feeling when you have this base and you have some blockers and your base can't be breached. Getting hit with a Wing Gundam and your base actually surviving is going to be a unique feeling. Would you play this? I don't know. This card has its own built-in, you know, protections. So, yo, chat, what are they trying to do here? Does the jacket not fit? Is there not enough space on the top part of the shirt? What's going on here? So it says aspiring pilot. Action step, choose one of your AU unit or bases. It recovers 2. Wow, a recovery to a base. That's brand new, right? This is kind of the first card that does this. So healing your base. So your Argama, not only is it has its own built-in protection, it has healing built in with it. So that's pretty good. And it's also a white heal card. That's pretty interesting. And man, you know, also just white is keeping your bases alive by reducing their damage when they attack into it. There's many ways to just keep that stuff alive. This is gonna be interesting. Yeah, but overall the art looks really, really cool. I just like how it looks. What is going on here, guys, with these mini eyebrows and these traumatized men in the background? Okay, it says action. There's a hybrid card here. If you have a Gallahorn linked unit in play, choose one enemy unit, it gets -3 AP during this battle. It reminds me of literally Deep Devotion. As long as you have a linked unit in play, you can heal your units for 3. You would think you would always have that until you have that card in your hand, and it like never really occurs. So being able to have a Gallahorn linked unit in play specifically, and then of course then you can get this. I mean, this is all right. Like if you need more Gallahorn pilots in your deck and you really can't fit in something like, you know, unforeseen incident, then this would be the better card to play. All right, this is looking pretty cool here. So it says Heart Set on Revenge, another hybrid card here. So it's action. Choose one enemy unit with 4 or less HP battling a friendly unit with blocker. So essentially, if you blocked with something else, you can choose this. Return it to its owner's hand. I feel like this is a little bit worse than a Mula Flaga, even though it can say, you know, 4 or less HP is a little bit stronger, but of course you have to involve someone with blocker. Now, Mula Flaga is just anyone with 3 HP or less, and it can be used on main too, so you can just don't even need to enter attack, you can just use it out of your hand. So I feel like this card's a little bit worse than that. All right, moving on to the straight command card. So we have this cool looking just Zeta. It says burst, choose one AU base card from your trash, add to your hand. Yep, we have so much base support. We're keeping that Argama going. And it says main, draw 3, then discard 2. Yo, graceful charity, let's go. Do we use this card over overflowing affection? I almost want to say no, we don't use it. Like if we're using AU cards, it has a better fit into that deck. Drawing 3 cards, discarding 2. Maybe if you want to throw this in the purple list, that can be better. It's the cost. Yeah, you're getting 1 more card dig, which can be very important, but committing to 3 costs and then drawing the card you needed, and you're just gonna have a less chance of playing it. I feel like the overwhelming affection is just a stronger card. I feel like that card probably should have came out a little bit later, and maybe this card should have came out first. Now that I think about it, the Gallahorn guys just seem kind of these uppity, what is the guy drinking tea here? What's going on? So he's a Gallahorn pilot. Says when paired, if 4 or more Gallahorn cards are in your trash, choose one enemy unit, it gets -2 AP during its turn. Yeah, they're just making everyone weak. Just everyone weak to deck. This is like Academy, just like, but like trash base kind of deal there. If we have these, you know, specific conditions met, then you're getting -2. I'm not mad at this card. It's a pilot. He doesn't really do too much, even at level 3. Like, how can we get 4 Gallahorn cards in our trash that early by the time he lands? I'm just kind of thinking like that's where it kind of holds him off. Like, he just ends up being played a little bit later. I just feel like there's gonna be many times where I'm not gonna be able to do too much with this guy until I've lost a lot of units, or if I played like Overflowing Affection a couple times, you know. So there's that. All right, and here we have Char Aznable trying to hide out, and it says when Link, if this is an AU unit, draw 1. If you do, discard 1. Okay, so this is a lot better. It's like a Dirk effect, but just like the proper way. You know, if you draw 1 card, then discard, rather than discarding a card, then drawing a card, which is awful. That's pretty cool. When linked with an AU unit, we're gonna get to all the AU units. I'm pretty sure there's his Yakushiki's definitely gonna be in here. So it's a 1/2 AU new type. Here we go. And it's a Char Aznable. I wonder if we can play some kind of like white-green Xeon in any kind of capacity, just because you can throw this guy on a Zaku too. Camille. Yo, why they give him the most like Egglord picture? I don't think there's many people that like Camille. But here we go. So while there are friendly white base in play, which is the whole deck, just try to keep Argama alive, this unit gets +2 AP. So that's pretty good. But as long as there's a base in play, he's a 3/2 pilot. That's nuts. All right, here we are in the units here. So we have a 2/2, another Academy card, but it's a 1/3. So this is pretty all right. Like, there is already a level 2 cost card. So it's kind of similar to this, but I think a 1/3 would actually go a little bit further. It may not deal a lot of damage to their bases or anything like that, but you know, you're gonna be being able to be a more of a fighting unit. I'm not too mad about this, so glad to see some Academy stuff. So here we have a cool Gallahorn Graze card. It says when destroyed, if it's your opponent's turn, choose one of your Gallahorn units and set it to active. All right, not too bad about that. If this thing dies on your opponent's turn, you can pretty much reset something. So, but overall, the stats isn't too great. He doesn't have Link, which is something I kind of look for in these 3/2s. Okay, here we go with the 3/2, and the cost here is a 3/3, and he has a Link. That's what I'm talking about. This is way better. Let's see what we're talking about here. While you have another Gallahorn unit in play, this unit gains blocker. This card is just way better. This card just does so much more. I'm surprised they didn't make him a 2/3 and try to make him go with like this, you know, Graze for some kind of reason. Overall, this is a pretty decent card. Just the fact that like this reminds me of the M1 Astray card. You know, as long as you have another triple ship alliance, it gets +1 AP, so it becomes a 3/2 blocker. But overall, I kind of like this card a lot better, and I'm definitely gonna be playing it. Yo, the Methus is crazy. That's like his iconic pose here. This card went ham in the Gundam Evolution game. That game was awful though. But anyways, we have a 2/2 for a 1/1. What? There's a 1/1 card with the Fa as the pilot. So it says deploy if a friendly white base is in play, choose one enemy unit, it gets -2 AP during its turn. So I do like how the whole AU thing is going. Like, if you see the Argama or white base in play, they're gonna be like, yo, we need to get this thing dead. And here we have a Nemo, which is pretty much like a different type of GM. So this is that makes our number 3 2/2 of the level 2 1 cost guys for the color white. So this is going to be a, we're probably gonna get this kind of stat for every single new trait that ever comes out from this point moving forward. It just is what it is. And here we have a Rick Diaz. That's pretty much like a Rick Dom, was a 3/3 blocker. This is straight up good. It just leaves you room to also do, you know, shenanigans, have the command card you can play, even throw a, you know, pilot on this card, you know, or even another unit down and play. I think just being able 3/3 blocker is pretty decent. That can also attack. So Rick Diaz along with the Alfred is definitely the strongest blockers, even though they're, you know, they're both level 3. I still think the Zord still has a place, even while more blockers are coming out. It's just because if aggro is a thing still, you definitely need to be able to drop cards on level 2. All right, we have the Gundam Ferract, a different art here, so that's pretty cool. So another Academy card, it's just a simple 5/4 with a Link here. So just meaty stats, you know, low cost at level 5, so that's gonna be interesting. And Ain's Graze here, it's a 4/3/4/2, so this is pretty decent stats here. So this reminds me just another Gelgook. Really, if you're using Gallahorn, I would definitely play like 3 or 4 of these cards in that particular deck here. I like this. And will this card be played in sealed? Absolutely. Good sealed card. You know, any stats like this, guys, you know, you kind of ignore the link in sealed. If you have it, you have it. If not, you're probably not going to have it. Even though it's any Gallahorn trait, but you're probably not going to have it. But being in 4-3 is still good. Buster Gundam. Oh, here we go. So triple ship alliance. All right. So the M1 is straight coming back, maybe. So while this card has 5 or more AP, it gains blocker. Okay, getting the ZAF threshold is going to be a little bit easier with this particular card because it already has 4 AP. It goes with any coordinator, so pretty much all of the red ZAF cards. This is pretty much promoting the triple ship of alliance, which is a white-red deck essentially, and being able to put any coordinator on this, like Kira for example, will be able to give this, you know, the stats to give it blocker. And of course, Link there, the Rick Diaz red. This is Quattro's unit, right? Oh, it doesn't even say it. So it says attack, choose 1 active friendly base, rest it. If you do, choose 1 enemy unit that is level 4 or lower. It gets -2 AP. So this is all interesting, but this one doesn't say white base, it just says friendly base, so anything. So it always, when attack, choose 1 active. Almost everyone's bases are going to be active. There's very few that you actually tap all the time. I like this card a lot. As long as you have a base in play, you technically have a Kira attached to this thing. Man, if you put a Kira on this thing as well and swing into something, that's like -4 off of this 1 attack. That's pretty meaty. That's pretty strong. I wonder if we're gonna do that. I think this card is really, really good. And this card is good in seal too, because it doesn't say anything about it being white. It just, as long as it's just a friendly base, boom, you're good to go. And you can use this in 2v2s. Good, man. Ooh, another Gundam aerial rebuild, but it's only a rare version, so I feel like it's automatically going to be worse than the other ones. Let's see here. So a high maneuver, never mind. During pair, while there are 4 more command cards in your trash. I was wondering we're going to do this like Academy threshold thing still. This unit gains blocker. I was wondering when they're going to go back to doing that. There's only 2 cards right now that really focus on that, so this is now the 3rd. Surprised they're not going to have more. We'll see. We have a couple more cards left to see if there's any more like that. Ooh, this Graze looks crazy cool. Okay, so it says during your opponent's turn, the enemy unit battling this unit gets first strike. Wait a second. What a crazy detriment. Just because this guy is a 5/4, I would say that he's a 5/4 on level 4 for only 3 costs. I guess that's pretty cool. But anyone attacking this guy gets first strike against him, that's interesting. So you definitely need to make sure he has a high health, so that first strike just doesn't matter. See, the thing is, Carta issue only gives +1/+0 if you're going to get the link here, right? So if it was my choice, I'll put any guy that can be, you know, +1/+2 to make it at least a 6/6. So that'll probably be the best thing. And of course, use as many like battle tricks to keep them alive as possible. That could be a thing too. So if they're like trying to take advantage of the first strike, you're like, nope, you're -2 AP. Nope, you're minus this. Nope, you're minus that. And just him being like meaty stats, just crushing bases by himself with no link is crazy. On level 4, this is a pretty strong static card, guys. Yo, the Yakushiki looks crazy cool here. All right, so, and it says, while a friendly white base is in play, this unit gains repair 1. Not mad about it. Yo, a blocker with repair is nuts. The only way I could think of to really get blocker with repair right now is throwing on the Sailor Moss onto like something like a Virulent custom. But obviously with a lot of blue cards coming out now with blocker, there's more ways of doing that, at least in blue. But having this built in is pretty cool. As long as you have white base in play, it doesn't need to be linked or anything like that. That's pretty cool. And here we have the Mark II. Yes, I was waiting for this one. It says deploy. If a friendly white base is in play, you may pair 1 AU pilot card from your hand with this unit. Now that's pretty cool. Just being able to play a pilot for free. I'm not mad at that. You know, if on level 4 you have 4 open, you pay this. You still technically have 1 open for something else to do in the unit or something. Not really mad at this. In here we have one of the first legendary rares, another Gallahorn Gundam frame from the Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphan series here. So it says deploy. If there are 4 more Gallahorn cards in your trash, draw 2. If you do, discard 2. It is weird because you already got the cards in your trash, but being able to draw 2 cards and kind of fix your hand a little bit better, because drawing 2 in this game, you can technically get a unit and a link, you know, and it says discard 2, so you can kind of really fix your hand there. So I'm not really too mad at this. Would I play this? Yeah, I'll play this. I feel like I'm gonna play a lot of the cards. I just gotta see. Will this card be like played in like at the higher levels? It doesn't really do too much. It doesn't really affect the board, so I can't really say if it would be played there. But I will say this, I'm like kind of beating up on this guy, but you really truly can't go too much wrong with being able to draw 2 cards and discard 2. Yo, we have the Zeta Gundam. So glad this guy came out this early here. So at level 6, 5 cost, says during link, activate during your main step, and then once per turn. Choose one active friendly base and rest it. If you do, set this unit to as active. Oh, hey, hold on, wait, it can't choose the enemy player as attack target this turn. So it can attack again, but it just can't attack the base twice. So it can attack the base once, rest the base, and then being able to attack their guy. This is nuts. This is a nuts card. It's just for free. Like, you have to have Camille there, and you have to have a base in play. So there's 2 things. I give it that, and it's only during your main, and you just get essentially a free tap. It isn't like Togi's where you have to pay 4. Technically, Togi's doesn't need another card in play. He can just do it by himself, right? So that's the thing. He doesn't even need a pilot on it whatsoever. This does need all these things, but at the benefit of it costing 0, you know, once everything has been met, you know. And in the deck that's kind of defensive, and which white can do very, very well, this may not be too difficult to set up. All right, guys, that does it for all of the cards from the new Gundam set. How you guys feeling about the white cards? Which one of these cards are you feeling the most excited about? Are you going to be trying to go back to Academy and try to make a better deck with the cards that are coming out in this list? Are we interested in Ayug or Galahorn? Let me know. I'm actually more interested in the Ayug white base kind of shenanigans, playing with Argama in play. I'm not really sure what other white base I would use. Maybe Archangel still, because, you know, blockers are still going to be really, really good. But obviously your boy is going to be playing some Galahorn stuff, because it just seems like a different style of play. I don't really like blocking too much and just kind of waiting around to play the late game stuff. But being able to set up a good Zeta Gundam and start just crushing my opponent's board is going to be very exciting. Let me know what you guys are interested in. And while you're down there, be sure to remember to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. It really helps the channel a lot here. I know you hear every YouTuber say that. It's because it really actually does. So definitely help us out. And if you're feeling extra generous, be sure to check out the links in the description for those links for the donation, or you can leave a super thanks. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I know life can be hard out there, guys, but keep your head up, keep moving forward, and most importantly, let nothing stop you. Peace out, guys.